You're listening to Indiana Originals Radio, leading local living.
I'm going back to Indiana now.
Welcome back to the first day on 93 WIBC. We're brought to you by our friends at B&W Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Drains, the professionals in the big black trucks. You'll find them at bigbblacktrucks.com. I'm Terri. Stacy. We have said this time and time again, but our good friends at B&W are so good to us here on the first day. They are also a member of the Indiana Original Group. You know who I'm talking about? Mel McMahon, and her husband Lance. She's here. Hi.
Good morning, Terri.
So, how are you?
I'm doing really well.
Good.
I had so much fun with you last weekend at the Biltwell.
It was an awful day.
It was
awful
crummy
weather,
but we had so much fun.
We did have fun, and because of everything, because the food was so outstanding. I love the venue of the Biltwell, and I do. I have since the day they opened. I'm a big fan, and a great place for events. But also, not only the food and the kids and decorating of cookies, but our friends from Silly Safaris were there, who are good friends of mine.
So much fun. Baby B
Loved
just
them.
loved the animals.
Yeah.
And he was so mad at me because I made him leave the show early.
Oh.
And he was like, but Mama, I would have been next to hold an animal. I'm like, oh my gosh, you held like 9 before we left. But it was so much fun. So much fun.
Is.
So thank you to our Indiana Originals who
yeah.
made that day super special. And Terri, real quick, before we get to our guest, what was your favorite item that you had?
To eat? I love sliders and French fries.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan, but there was wonderful Greek food from Santori's. Is that who brought the Santorini?
Yep.
Santorini's brought that in, and I always love Greek food, but I just am such a fan of burgers and fries.
I loved the milkshake.
Oh, I didn't taste the milkshake.
It was so good, and it had Pop Rocks at the bottom.
That's what you told me.
So it just popped in your mouth.
Fun.
It was so good.
I love it.
It was so fun. But you know what is not a lot of fun to people, but is fun to our next guest?
What?
Taxes.
Oh,
I know. That's how most people react.
man.
But when you say taxes to Sherry Borshoff of Borshoff Consulting, she gets excited because she's really good at them. Sherry, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
It's my pleasure.
Tell us how you got into the tax business. How'd you get into accounting?
Well, I started out as a paralegal for a tax department at a law firm, and decided to get my accounting degree so I could move up the corporate ladder, so to speak. And it just kind of rolled on from there. I worked for a CPA firm for a little while, went into the corporate world. I was a controller for a multi-unit restaurant company, and then for a electrical contractor. So I have a strong cost accounting background. And of course, in those sorts of jobs, you do it all. You do cost accounting as well as putting the financials together for the company. And then I got downsized from a job in 2009. Went out freelance for a little while, and then decided, you know what, there are a lot of small businesses in Indiana who could really use my expertise. They don't necessarily have the funds to hire somebody full time like I did when I worked in the corporate world. The landscape is changing a lot from that 99% of the businesses in the U.S. are small businesses. Mm-hmm. And so I decided to start a firm to help those small businesses.
Now, Sherry, you do something a little special. You have an expertise, if you will, of helping people who have gotten in trouble with the IRS. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I do a lot of tax resolution work. A lot of people, especially small businesses, they're trying to save some money, so they try to go it alone, and then they inevitably miss something. And I not only do that with the IRS, but also with the state of Indiana. For example, if you're selling goods, you have to collect sales tax. And you have to pay sales tax to the state. So a lot of companies get hung up on that. But I do represent clients if they get that dreaded letter from the IRS that says we want to examine your books. So I'll help represent those people. I've negotiated with the IRS to reduce penalties on a number of cases. It's not always the easiest to do, but it can usually be done to reduce the tax bill. I've seen cases where the penalties and interest outweigh what the original tax debt was.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
Yeah. So you go in and you negotiate on behalf of the taxpayer in that situation. And because in most of those situations, the taxpayer didn't just negligently not file their taxes. They had some kind of a life event that caused them to, like if your spouse is ill or on death's door, the last thing you're going to think about is, oh, I got to go do my taxes, so. But to enforce the laws of the land, the IRS will slap you with penalties and interest for not filing and things like that.
Terri, you had a question?
Well, I just want to mention Sherry Borshoff joins us on the INHP.org phone line this morning. I want to know if there's anything new that we need to know about when filing our taxes this year. It seems like from time to time there are new rules and regulations. Is there anything we need to be aware of this year?
Okay, well, there is a lot of change, especially with the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act that actually passed last year. Mm-hmm. But some things changed again this year, as it does every year. If you're a small business, keep in mind that you can qualify for the qualified business income deduction, which can be up to 20%. It's a complicated deduction, so I will always suggest that you seek a tax professional to help you figure out what your portion of that is. You do have to have income in your business to take it, but it's a complicated scenario. A lot of folks kind of got hung up last year because they were used to itemizing deductions, and that'll be on the table again this year. The standard deduction is so much higher now. And a lot of people don't have, I always suggest to my clients to itemize, send the itemized details anyway, and we'll always take whichever is higher for you. But a lot of people are like, I don't see my mortgage interest on my tax return anymore. What happened?
Right.
Well, it's because you didn't outweigh the standard deduction, which is $24,000, or I think it's $24,500 this year for married filing jointly. So keep that in mind, but do add it up. Make sure that you don't outweigh that, Always do suggest that you seek the help of a tax professional, especially if you're in a small business.
And save your receipts, right, Sherry?
And save all of your receipts and do your mileage log. Do a mileage log.
Save your receipts and mileage log.
Okay.
Awesome.
Okay.
Sherry, if people have questions for you, how can they get a hold of you?
My office phone number is 317-846-1005, and I'm at extension 3 because I share an office with my husband, who is an insurance agent. And we'd love to talk to you. I offer a 30-minute consultation to get to know you and your situation and see how we might be able to help you. And then if you decide to engage me, we've got all kinds of tools that I offer to clients to help keep them compliant with taxes and all of that. So and help them run their business too.
Awesome. Sherry Borshoff, Borshoff Consulting, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
And you reminded us that we need to hire a professional to do taxes because there's so much to learn and
That's a little self-serving, I
much
know, but
changes.
But, don't get yourself into trouble. It's always better to hire a professional than it is to not.
IndianaOriginals.com if you'd like more information. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you, Terri.
The news
Thank you.
The news is next. 93 WIBC.
Thanks for listening to Indiana Originals Radio. Check us out at 93 WIBC Sunday mornings at 10:45.
I'm going back to Indiana.
And visit IndianaOriginals.com to find local businesses near you. Indiana Originals, leading local living.